As fans of superhero movies, we get sucked into this story forgetting that everything isn't real. In today's list, we're going to show you what DC movies look like without CGI. First up, Aquaman. Aquaman is one of DC's harder projects that they've had taken on. This film has received a whole lot of mixed reviews, mostly bad reviews. The actor who plays Aquaman, Jason Momoa, is great to watch. There can be no other Aquaman other than him. The problem isn't the acting, the entire cast is good. The problem lies in the special effects. Here's a special effect fail: the hair. It makes no sense whatsoever. Why does Patrick Wilson's hair stick slicked back? That isn't really possible when you're underwater. Amber Heard's red hair stays in perfect position all the time. The VFX team admits that the CGI used here is extremely difficult. Better luck next time, guys. What you see in this movie is that 80% of it is filmed underwater, or so-called water. Want to know what it really looks like? The sad part is that none of it is filmed underwater. All of it is CGI, including the voiceovers sounding as if they're underwater. What a disappointment, don't you think? I'd love to see people ride on sharks without CGI, of course. Next, Superman Returns 2006. DC is known for Superman. Better yet, what is DC without Superman? Bryan Singer's 2006 Superman Returns is filled with flying and more action than anyone can possibly handle. Did you know that this blockbuster is shot using Panavision's genius camera system? The visual effects supervisor, Mark Stetson, has this to say: "With the Genesis, we have a color space that's broader than anything before. We're in 4:4:4, so we have a broader bit depth and the low light response is still very, very good." The visual effects in this movie are so good that Superman Returns has even received Academy Award nominations. Fellow VFX supervisor Neil Corbould tells us that what we wanted to do was to use as many different ways of flying Superman as possible. Mark would always say that if it looks better doing it for real, then it is the way it should be done. We had men dressed in green suits to puppeteer the cape flapping in the wind. We had Superman on a box and on a turntable, so many different systems. Corbould said, "It's always good to keep the audience guessing as to how we did it." That's some incredible CGI, don't you agree, guys? Next, Green Lantern 2011. Let's admit it, this is the worst superhero movie ever made, but you gotta love Ryan Reynolds. He's always great to watch. The budget of this flop of a film is $200 million. It has only made $116 million. Talk about a catastrophe. Why on earth does the production team decide to make Hal Jordan's suit entirely CGI? So without CGI, he's simply wearing a tracking suit. It just makes no sense. Green Lantern's visual effects supervisor, Karen Guletics, has this to say about the CGI process: "We use witness cameras. We had Ryan wear a tracking suit along with dots placed on his neck and also on his face for scenes in which he was to be wearing the mask. Hal's digital mask, which is oddly shaped, and the way Reynolds' eyes lighten every time he uses his powers make him look a bit like a cat pretending to be a human. Now that just sounds silly. Why even go through all that trouble? Hello, costume designers exist, guys." Next, we have Batman Begins 2005. Christopher Nolan is a genius filmmaker. He's about the best in the business. Why do his films do so well? That's because he is more on the practical side of things. Visual effects co-supervisor Dan Glass of Batman Begins tells us that VFX is used from time to time. He tells us this: "Batman Begins is essentially a non-effects movie, although it does have almost 600 effects shots. The Batmobile is the hardest piece of work that this team has had to face. How have they pulled it off? With trick shots and miniatures. Bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? But it isn't all that easy. The full-size vehicle has also been used on location in Chicago. This is what the production team has to say. Even within the miniatures rooftop section, we cut to the inserts that were shot full-size to trick the viewer's eye. The miniatures they created weren't actually that many at all. It made a 3/4 scale, 5-foot Batmobile. The key with miniatures is scale, and Janek pushed hard to use large miniatures. Some were 35 feet tall. Double Negative, the UK-based visual effects house, has done 300 effect shots in this film. They've even been nominated at the Visual Effects Society Awards. Do you know any better CGI than in Batman Begins? Next up, Suicide Squad 2016. The 2016 flop, Suicide Squad, isn't DC's best work, but it is memorable for its anti-hero characters Harley Quinn and the Joker. The rest are mostly forgotten. These two characters, dolled up in heavy makeup, have the best scenes in this movie. How about that moment where Harley's pushed off a helicopter? Well, as scary as that might sound, behind the scenes, actress Margot Robbie is simply pretending to fall backwards backward, ending up on a soft padded mattress. Even though there is a huge problem with the plot, this film has managed to make $750 million. Let's not forget that $175 million is used on the VFX and special effects. This is a huge amount of money and hours of hard work. In total, 17 VFX teams have worked together to create all those action scenes. One example is where MPC works on Harley Quinn's elevator scene. This is what MPC's visual effects supervisor Seth Murray tells us. Plates were shot of Harley fighting with a practical actor in an EA, Eyes of the Adversary costume. Our goal was to replace the heads on these practical actors so that the eyes on the head were alive and blinking during each shot, and so that the head breathed and pulsed. Murray also tells us that he enjoys blowing heads. Murray admits, "We gave each head its own style per shot, whether large bits or small bits of debris, or all the mass going up or sideways or spreading spherically like a firework. The idea for the heads is that they're organic and moved and deformed in a human style, but once destroyed they became rigid and exploded like rock, concrete, and glass." How do you feel about Suicide Squad now? Do you like it even less now? Let us know down in the comments section. Next, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice 2016. Do you even remember this movie, Batman vs. Superman? As ridiculous as that might sound, it is a movie that critics frown upon. You can't deny the CGI is good and that the main problem in this movie is the awful plot. The best scene of this entire movie is when Wonder Woman makes her debut in her full gear. That is some seriously good VFX right there, don't you think? This is what is used behind the scenes to make it all work. The majority of the scenes are filmed on an asphalt backlot in Michigan. There is that scene where Superman is caught in flooding water. As scary as it looks, in real life, actor Henry Cavill isn't actually dropped into water. Everything's digital. Flowline software is used to simulate the movement of water. Everything else, from the houses to the trees to the mountain ranges, is digitally added. Great, isn't it? Last on our list, Wonder Woman. Released in 2017, Wonder Woman is a big deal for the DC Extended Universe. This blockbuster hit as a female superhero that takes center stage. What makes this film work is the 500 visual effects shot. Jessica Norman is the VFX supervisor, and her MPC team is responsible for bringing to life the epic beach battle in this movie. If you can recall that awesome scene where the Amazon warriors fight against Nazi soldiers, then you're going to remember well all those amazing stunts. This scene is shot on the west coast of Italy on 2 different beaches. DC has this to say about it. MPC's environment artists extended the beach and added cliff backdrops. A photo shoot team undertook extensive photo shoots at Vignotica Beach and along the east coast of Italy for cliff textures and reference material. Cliffs and islands were lit and rendered by MPC's lighting team. Wonder Woman is also praised for having a female director, which is something rare in Hollywood. In most of Diana, aka Wonder Woman shots, she fights off bad guys with her sword jumping tremendous heights and carrying huge blocks of concrete. Without CGI, all that you can see is actress Gal Gadot in front of a green screen holding up an empty green box held up with strings. Wow, that's what I call trickery. It's kind of disappointing to see your favorite superhero not being able to do anything that you can see on screen. What do you think? Apart from all the action scenes, how does her hair manage to stay in such perfect position all the time? VFX vendors have been in charge of making Wonder Woman look flawless. MPC has developed new controls for hair simulations to be able to maintain the shape and style of Wonder Woman's hair in these action-packed scenes. I can't even imagine to ever keep my hair out of my face. Wish some kind of VFX could help me out with that. No wonder Wonder Woman keeps getting sequels. It's plainly awesome. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment.